The Four Nations final is here. Team Canada gets a rematch against Team USA after beating them 3-1 this past Saturday. Who wins this rematch and the Four Nations final? Injuries are a big topic. Who's in? Who's out? Do the teams even know who's playing yet? I got a free play for you. So let's review these two teams in this Four Nations final and find out who wins. What's good, everybody? My name is Dre, and I am Exotic Wagers. Thank you for tuning in to the VIP room, where I cover mostly hockey and sometimes in the off season, golf. You can also follow me over at Exotic Wagers on X and on Instagram, where I post a lot of my social media information. I'm also part of the Legacy Sports Discord, where we just charge $14.99 a month and cover most major sports, including hockey, golf, tennis, soccer, football, college sports. We pretty much cover it all. It's only $14.99 a month. Click the link in my description below and you can get a free 14-day trial, and it's just $14.99 a month after that. So here we are at the Four Nations final. The game is set for 8 p.m. Eastern this Thursday down in Boston at TD Garden. What I want to do is kind of show you my screen and we can kind of go through the odds, see what the odds are. Maybe look at the lineups. There's been a lot of injury updates. Who's playing, like I said, who's in, who's out. We really don't know. It's still kind of, I've only made a couple bets. I do have a couple free play bets for you. I also had a future pre-tournament that I also played. But let me share my screen and we can start looking at the odds, and then maybe we can run through some player futures and see who's going to get MVP. Some of the favorites are Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid. Then over on the U.S. side, you could arguably say Connor Hellebuck or maybe one of the Tkachuks. But let me go ahead and share my screen for you guys. So, let me go over to FanDuel. Not sure why it's on baseball. Why do they not have any odds right now for here? So currently on FanDuel, it looks like, it's even on both sides. Minus 110. Minus 1.5 is plus 235. Plus 1.5 is minus 300. The over/under is set at 5.5, with the over being plus money at plus 110, and the under coming in at minus 134. Let's look over at DraftKings and see what the odds are over there. So, you got minus 112 for USA, minus 108 for Canada. One other website that I like using is, I thought I had it pulled up here. I guess I don't. Let me get this. So, I also like using Wager Talk. I feel like they have pretty good. If anybody uses certain, depending on which websites you use, I like using these. These seem to be pretty true. It's over at wagertalk.com. A lot of people tend to use Don Best, and I feel like these odds kind of replicate their, and this one's free and their odds. So As you can see, Team Canada here. Let me see just the money lines. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can zoom up. Is it this one? This one. So right here we're looking at, depending on which book you are, I mean, like right here, Bet Online actually has Canada favored. But if you, I mean, it opened with USA favored. This is even, this is even, this is even. You got USA favored over at South Point, Vegas. So, I mean, shop around depending on what side you're looking at. But looks like it's pretty even across the board on the totals. Everything is pretty much set at 5.5. I think you're going to see that across the board. This is kind of the same mentality of a game 7 in the final, so expect a low scoring game here. I really don't know if I'm gonna have a play on the total. I think if it was set at 6, I would probably take the under. You got Hellebuck. I don't think Hellebuck gives up more than 2 or 3 goals. So I think if Canada really wants to win this game, they're gonna have to figure out a way to put up more than 3 or more goals on Hellebuck, which is, I think, is it's doable. We've seen him coming into this tournament. He's given up more than 3 or 4 goals before. So, I mean, I think it's definitely doable. But yeah, I think if Canada is going to win, they're definitely going to have to score more than 3 goals. I definitely see this game being 2-3, 2-4 game. I don't think it gets very much higher than that. The only way I could see it getting higher is, maybe you got a 1-goal game, 2 or 3 minutes left, they start pulling the goalie, you get 2 or 3 open netters, and it ends up being a 4-1, 4-2 game, something like that, 5-2 game. So, but yeah, like I said, 5-5s across the board. And so for me, I actually bet Canada pre Four Nations tournament. We took them at, or at least when I gave it out, it was plus 175. I got them risking 2 units to win 3.5 units. So I'm not sure if I'll be betting a side. If I do bet a side, it'll probably be Canada. Just waiting to see the latest news and the shakeout between who's playing and who's not. Speaking of that, let's go ahead and look at the lineups and the current lineups and see what daily face-off is showing for each of these players. So if we look over, this is Team Canada. Let's see, I'm recording right now at 11:55 p.m. Eastern. And that's the reason why I really haven't bet anything, is because all day these lines have been jumbled around. We've been hearing news, B writers saying this and that. So I'm kind of waiting for game day and possibly up to an hour before game time to place any bets. I do have a couple player props. I feel like these player props that I took, they're probable players that are going to probably be playing in the top 6. So I expect them to get a lot of playing time, but it kind of hinges upon who's playing. Like in the American side, you got Brady Tkachuk and Matt Tkachuk. Matt Tkachuk was on the ice today, but Brady Tkachuk was not. And it's not because of his injury. It's because he's dealing with an illness and a cold. I guess there's a cold that's been going through both of these teams. And that's why you've seen, like, Cale Makar was out last week. And a few other players have been dealing with illnesses. So it still looks like he will be playing. But so let's look. Then there's the news of, Quinn Hughes, where they were talking about that he was going to Boston to play in this game. Turns out, he's not playing unless they already have 6 healthy players. And then there was news later on today that was saying that he didn't make the trip because he hasn't been medically cleared. So whether he's playing or not, I don't know. That still goes to say there was no official ruling prior to the news of him being not legally cleared. Injury and the NHL had not made a legal or a decision yet on what they were going to do, because they had a rule and they didn't have a rule, and then now they were trying to figure out what was going on. So over on the team USA side, if you look at the lineup here, you got Gensel, Matthews, Hughes at the top there, and then you got Brady Tkachuk with the little caution sign. That was because he did not practice today, was not on the ice. I think he's fine to play. I think it's more of they don't want to get anybody else sick, and make sure that everybody's good to go next week. So next week, tomorrow. I'm recording this. Well, I say tomorrow. In 2 hours, it's going to be game day. So, but yeah, so you got Brady, Eckel, and Tkachuk on that second line there, and you got Miller, Larkin, Boldy, and then rounding out the bottom there, you got Nelson, Trocheck, and Connor. And then it is interesting to note, if Brady does not play, it looked like today during practice they had Kyle Connor playing up on that second line in Brady's spot. So be interesting to see. And this is all speculation. We could go 5 minutes into this game, you could get 2 scores, and then all of a sudden the coaches decide to just change the lineup, and then you're kind of just dealing with whatever's rolling at that time. Like right now when you're looking at Canada, you can see Crosby, McKinnon, and Reinhart on the same line. But in previous games, we've seen Connor, McKinnon, and Crosby on the same line. So it kind of really just depends. But you think that the top 6 are probably going to get the majority of the ice time. You also got Mitch Marner playing down on the third line, because you got Braden Point going up there to playing with Connor McDavid, and you saw the type of connection they had in the last game and the type of offense that they were putting together. So I really like I said, I really like Canada here. I think with McAvoy not playing for the United States, I think that's a big blow to the United States in their defense. Also, when they played last Saturday, you also had Cale Makar that was not playing. He is actually playing tomorrow, so that's a big on the positive side. Also, another thing to note, like even prior to you had Alex Pietrangelo that opted out to not play in this tournament, so they didn't have him. And then you had Shea Theodore go out early in this tournament. But like I said, McAvoy is out. He's dealing with an upper body injury that actually he had been dealing with and turned into an infection. And they had to do a minor procedure, so he is out for this game as well. Like I said, you got Cale Makar back that did not play in the first game. You have Matthew Tkachuk. He is playing. He's been dealing with a soft tissue injury, but it looks like he's good to go. Then you had Brady Tkachuk that got hurt in the last game and did not return, where I don't think he was tripped because there was no penalty, but he fell down, slid into the goal on his hip, and then came in. I actually had him for 3 shots on goal in a parlay that did not cash because another leg did not cash, but he only had 2 shots, got hurt, came in for 1 shift, put a shot on goal, and then went out. So he was able to get the 3, but the other leg didn't cash. So, but like I said, more than likely he'll be playing. He just did not practice today because he's dealing with an illness, and I don't think they want to get the other players ill. But should be a very good matchup. I kind of hate that there is injuries. I would like to see both teams at full strength just so that we get no excuses and a great hockey game. I think we still get a great hockey game, but there's always going to be the talk of, they did not win or they won because this person was playing or was not playing. So we'll see who the lineups are tomorrow, and just see who's going to be playing. As for goalies, it looks like we're going to have Jordan Bennington playing for the United States, or I'm sorry, for Canada. And then we'll have Connor Hellebuyck playing for the United States. Like I said, it's hard to beat teams back to back. Although I think, the United States has a really good shot at winning this. But I just don't see how, McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby let this team lose 2 in a row against the United States. I think this is a bigger buildup for the Olympics coming up soon. And I think maybe the United States maybe takes that one, which is a more, not that this win isn't not important, but a more important win, winning a gold. So, and Canada lost. So the team that the United States is going to play the same game that they played in Saturday's game. Canada lost, so they're the team that needs to make adjustments and find out, what they did wrong and what they can do better. But yeah, like I said, you got Cale Makar now playing, which is a huge, filling a huge hole in their defense. Like I said, the game Saturday was technically 2-1. I think we got one open netter that ended 3-1. So in a game like this, once the team gets a 1-goal lead, I think it's huge, because both of these teams know how to lock down their defense. And I think the one weakness that Canada has is you got Jordan Bennington, that hasn't been the greatest goalie. I mean, he played decent on Saturday. I wouldn't say he played the greatest. I mean, he had some amazing saves, but when you look at the goals that he let in, I don't think he should have let maybe either one of those in. But one thing is, if he lets in a goal that's not screened and you can see it the whole way, you shouldn't let it in. I think for either, especially Halibut, the only way you can score on him is if he can't see the puck. You got to get in front. That front netminder's got to get right in front, and screen and do their job so that they can get goals. And I think that's the only way you score on Halibut, because he's a good enough goalie where he's not going to let up a goal from outside medium range. If he sees it the whole way, he's going to stop it. He's just that good. So, but yeah, let's look at this MVP race. So, for some reason, I can't find it on FanDuel and DraftKings. Not sure if it's not showing because I'm in Arizona or what the issue is. I know some other people have pulled it up. I haven't had it for the last couple days. So, but over here on Bet365, the favorite is plus 260 for Connor Hellebuyck. I think this MVP could go a whole bunch of different ways depending on how you want to look at it. If you think Arizona from Arizona, if you think USA is going to win, in my opinion, it's going to be somebody that has a big game in this final game, or it's going to, it probably will be, because if you look at the current points through this tournament, there's a lot of people that are, kind of evenly tied because it's such a small tournament. But, I think for Connor Hellebuyck to win, I think he's only, he's averaging like 1 goal a game right now during this tournament. I think if he's going to win it, you're going to see either a shutout where he has a 30-plus save game and a shutout, or maybe a 2-1 game with 40-some saves. That could definitely, I think, get him the the MVP. But also, I think Zach Rowinski's had a great season coming into this tournament. He's had a great season, great tournament itself. And I think if he had a really good game in this game, maybe 2 points and a goal, overtime winning goal or something like that, he definitely could walk away with the MVP. And at plus, 14-1, I think that's really good odds. If you're looking for somebody over on the Canadian side, the only three that I would look at is Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid. Crosby's got 5 points in the first 3 games in this tournament. So if Crosby has a big game, Maybe he's got 2 goals, 3 points, 2 goals, 2 points, maybe a goal or an assist and a game-winning goal. He could definitely be somebody that gets the MVP. McKinnon's leaning in goals. I believe he's got, I think I have that page pulled up. Let's see. Or at least I thought I did. Oh yeah, so he's got, McKinnon's got 3, Gensel's got 3, and Granlund's got 3. So they all have got 3. If you're looking at points, Sidney Crosby's got 5. Werenski's got 5. Michael Granlund's got 4. Gensel's got 4. Connor McDavid's got 4. So, I mean, any one of these guys could have a big game. On the U.S. side, you could also look at Brady Tkachuk, Matty Tkachuk. I mean, you look at the type of energy that they brought to Saturday's game. They both had 2 goals in game 1. Definitely, they have a good game. Maybe somebody has a hat trick. Maybe Matthew Tkachuk has 2 goals and 2 assists. That's something, I think whoever has the biggest game or the most meaningful game in this final game could definitely run away with the MVP. So depending on how you see this game finishing, I would suggest you take that kind of angle. I don't have any futures on any of these players. I think if I was playing somebody, I would probably, there is no value on Connor Hellebuck at plus 260. That's what he was at. Yeah, plus 260. I would maybe sprinkle a quarter unit on him, quarter unit on Werenski, and then take the other half a unit and sprinkle it between Crosby and McKinnon and Guentzel. You got McKinnon at 600, Guentzel at 1,000, and Crosby at 450. So, but like I said, I almost want to bet Crosby, but I just don't like the plus 475. I don't think there's enough value there for me. But yeah, so before I get into this free play, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn the notifications on so you can get this information when the information drops. Also, please remember to follow me on all the other social media channels, Instagram, X, all at Exotic Wagers. So let's get into this free play. Go over to my share screen. Let's go over to props.cash. So 2 of these, I have 1 player from each of these teams that I'm going to give you. I've already given these out to my Discord. I gave them out about an hour or 2 ago. And I didn't make those bets until about an hour or 2 ago, right before I sent them. So I feel like I'm still going to be monitoring these lines tomorrow and trying to find out, like I said, if there's any lineup changes, who's playing, who's in, who's out. But I do like these 2, and they're both plus money. So first person that we're going to look at is Jake Guentzel. Now on here on props.cash, they have his line set at 1.5, but his line is actually 2.5. The 1.5 line is not minus 137. It's north of minus 200, which is a price I would never pay. So, if you look into this tournament, in his first 2 games, he had 4 shots, 5 shots. And then in this meaningless Sweden game, he only had 1 shot. If you come down and look at his volume, in the first game, he had 6 shots. In the second game, he had 9 shots. And then in the meaningless Sweden game, he only had 1 shot. So his over 2.5 shots on goal. Let me see. I don't remember which odds or what. So for Jake Guentzel to have over 2.5 shots on goal or 3+ shots on goal, he has plus 120 over at Bet ESPN. I believe it was also plus 120 over at Bet Rivers, Bally Bet, and then also my local book, which is Desert Diamond Casino. And I know there's also a few Desert Diamond chains around the United States. So, but they all typically use that same line or same book. They also all have the layout in the app looks the same. It's just different colors. But like I said, over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 120. Also, another thing that I looked at in this matchup with Jake Gensel. So, I like his volume in the very first 2 games. I feel like in this game against Sweden, he kind of almost seemed like he took a break. If you look at If you look at Jack Hughes' numbers, he had multiple shots. I think he had 5 shots on goal. I don't remember how many attempts he had, but it was almost seeming like, Jake Gensel was taking the back seat and let Jack Hughes shoot a little more in that game. In this next game, I could definitely see Gensel getting back in the shooting realm. But like I said, also what I did look at in this matchup is I went and looked at Jake Gensel's matchup history versus Colorado. And the only reason why I did this is if you look on Canada's team, he's playing on the first line, and the defensive pair he's playing against are both Colorado Avalanche players. So the defense that he's playing against is somebody he knows well and is a pair that he knows well. On a lot of these other teams, you got players that are, playing defense that are on different teams. But on this pair, he typically probably sees this pair throughout the season. And I thought that was interesting. So when I went and looked over at his player history versus Colorado, if you look at his shot history here, he's had, this is when he was, he's still with Tampa Bay, but he's got 2, 3. Then over when he was with Pittsburgh, 3, 4, 10, 7. And then he kind of tails off from 2022 to 19 from 2, 2, 2, 0. So I definitely like his immediate history versus Colorado. I think, you also have McKinnon on that second line. I know he's not playing against the Gensel line. But I think that's just good additional matchup history that I like, that adds to this play that I like, especially when he had so much volume in these first 2 games. He did have 5 against Canada on Saturday. Now I think he did have 5 because Cale Makar was not there. But I still think he can get 3. It's just, not having Cale Makar there that can chase you down in a matter of seconds is a total different game changer. But I still like Jake Gensel to get over 2.5. And I think with him having, Matthews and Hughes on his line, these are also 2 dominant shooters. So if any one of these guys have a puck, they're more than likely going to dump it off to the other guy if they attract any defenders. But yeah, I like Gensel to get over 2.5. I don't expect a whole lot of penalties in this game. I feel like both teams really need to play this game clean, so that they can make sure that they don't, because both of these power plays are good. I know both of the PKs are also good, but I think they want to just play a lot of 5-on-5 hockey. So looking into my second player prop, and I was actually not going to give this out, but then I decided I don't have very many plays in this game. We haven't had hockey in a few days. It's been very spotty, so why not give this out before the NHL kicks back up this weekend? So second player I'm looking at is a player I've been talking about on this video a lot, Cale Makar. So Cale Makar over 2.5 shots on goal, like I said over here on props.cash. And I don't know why they're showing it at 1.5. But if you look at the first 2 games, like I said, he did not play in that game Saturday, but he had 2 shots versus Sweden, 4 shots versus Finland. If you look at his volume on both of those, he had 7 shots. He typically likes to shoot it in for medium range. Now, I also said earlier in this video that if Hellebuck sees a puck from far, he's going to catch it. But this is kind of my strategy. So I feel like after Canada plays, I know it's a short tournament, but this is just, I think, the history, or at least what I've seen from Makar. Once you cycle the puck 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times sometimes, once the offense gets tired, I always feel like I see Cale Makar just come in from medium range and shoot a floater, shoot a hard puck towards the goalie, let him catch it, and then you get an offensive ozone face-off. And then you get a line change and bring in a fresh line. I know you bring in a fresh line on the defense as well. So it really depends, I guess, on how exhausted the defense is. But, I mean, watch the game. If you even watch the game versus Sweden, he did this a lot. Or Finland, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I think he can get 3. I think you can also look at his stats in this tournament, and he hasn't really done much. I know he was out on that one game, but hasn't scored. I know there was a lot of people thinking that he was going to be very active in this tournament, and hasn't. So he's also, when I looked back at his last 3 games that he scored versus Winnipeg, every time Hellebuck was in net, even this last time, I believe he got a late third period goal to take the lead in the last game this season when they played Winnipeg. And then I think the game before that, he got an overtime winner versus Hellebuck. So, I know he's also faced Comrie in a few of those other games that didn't score. But I looked at his last 3 goals versus Winnipeg, and they were all versus Hellebuck. So, in a tournament where he hasn't really done much, I could see him wanting to shoot the puck and try to score a goal, a meaningful goal as well. So I would not be not expected to see him shooting the puck a lot. He's also, let's look at the line. This is also something I was looking at. When you look at if there is multiple power plays, when looking at this power play unit, you got Reinhardt, that's the netminder in front of the goalie. And then, Connor McDavid likes to pass the puck. I know in this tournament he's been shooting first before he's been passing. He scored the first 2 goals in 2 of the games. So, but when you look at this, I mean, you got Crosby. He's got multiple assists. I think he's got 1 goal, and it was an open goal when he blocked that guy right at the center ice or center rink. But everything else has been assists. Nathan McKinnon has been a shooter. That's all he's been doing is shooting. I think he's got a couple of assists, but he's been shooting. Reinhardt hasn't really done much, but like I said, he's the netminder right in the front. So Connor McDavid, he's been shooting first, but typically he likes to pass, draw the defense, and then dump it off to somebody else. So when I look at this power play unit, I actually think Cale Makar is going to be a shooter. I just think he's going to be a shooter just because nobody is going to expect him to shoot, given that you got McKinnon and Connor McDavid that has been shooting. So I could see McKinnon or McDavid drawing the defense. And McKinnon and Makar are on the same team all season long, so they know each other. They know their plays. They know their outlets, their dumps. Know how to pass to each other without even looking at each other. So definitely could see Cale Makar being active in this game. So like I said, I like Cale Makar over 2.5 shots on goal. I gave him out at plus 125 also over at ESPN. I want to say that his odds were the same also on Bet Rivers, Belly Bet, and Desert Diamond Casino, and any other. But I know that, like, I used to have Unibet and Twin Spires, but both of those pulled out of Arizona. But those always all had the same odds. So those are my 2 free bets for today. Like I said, my name is Dre. I'm Exotic Wagers. Thank you for tuning in to my VIP Room podcast. Like I said, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn those notifications on so you can get the latest content when it drops. Also follow me over on social media, on X and Instagram at Exotic Wagers. When I don't have time to create videos like this, I drop free plays on both of those social medias. So hopefully Canada gets us our 3.5 units and brings us home. Thank you for tuning in again. Like I said, and until next time, peace.